Hi, internet friends. Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Alex. I'm a doctor and a lifelong collector. But this channel is more than just toys, it's about life and joy and well being and the little unboxings that make us who we are. Now, my shelves are filled with Pop Mart, with Labubus and plushies and Lego. Basically, my tiny armies of joy. But today I wanted to do something a little different. It's not an unboxing, it's not a shelf tour, it's just you and me having a chat about something that I think needs saying. Why do people collect? Why do I collect? Why do you? And why does the internet sometimes treat some collections like high culture and others as a joke? Now, this one is personal to me. I'm a collector. Yes, I love Labubu and Pop Mart, all of it. But I've noticed that the social commentary around collecting seems to be getting louder. And honestly, a lot of it misses the point. So today I wanted to talk about joy, about the psychology, and maybe the overconsumption with a little bit of hypocrisy. Now, collecting is fun. Full stop, complete sentence. That moment of holding a blind box and not knowing what's inside, your brain literally lights up. It's anticipation, it's dopamine, it's excitement. But beyond brain chemistry, it's memory and it's identity. When I look at my shelves, I don't see just toys. I see stories. I see the one I found on a trip. I see the one I traded for, or the one that arrived on a really tough day but still made me smile. I see the one my husband always rolls his eyes at and then later says, it is kind of cute." Now, psychologists call this the extended self. It's that our possessions become part of who we are. Really, collecting is just like curating your identity. It's your life, but with objects. Now, people love to say that toys are childish, but honestly, collecting is probably one of the more adult things you can do. It takes money management, it takes patience and planning, even research. You wait and wait and wait, you budget, and then you display it. That's responsibility. Do you know what is actually childish? Mocking someone because their joy doesn't look like your version of joy. And here's what really bothers me, it's the double standards. Coins, vintage stamps, that's respectable. Wine, watches, handbags, that's sophisticated luxury. Labubus, plushies, that's wasteful overconsumption. Why? At the end of the day, it's the same psychology. We're all just humans finding joy in objects. Surely those labels are arbitrary. And here's another hot take. I recently watched a video that said Labubus were peak overconsumption culture, but Pokemon cards, they were fine. Really? So piles of cardboards are actually culturally acceptable, but beautifully designed toys are not. That's not logic, that's bias. Both are humans finding joy in small objects. The single difference is society has decided one is respectable. And that double standard says far more about us than it does the toy. Now, here is the real truth most collectibles have no inherent value. A Labubu is just plastic and fur, a coin is metal, a handbag is leather. The value comes from the story, from the brand, the community, from the meaning that we attach to it. Economists call this the socially constructed value. It only exists because we agree that it exists. And actually, I think that's kind of beautiful, whether it's £10 or £10,000. The value is created by someone caring. But let's be honest, not everybody collects for the same reason. Some do it for joy, sure, for design, for fun, for the community. Others, well, they do it for clout, for the likes, for flexing, for the performance of owning. Now, neither is automatically bad, but clout collecting can become dangerous. It often leads to overspending, to burnout, to chasing trends you don't even really enjoy. Here's the funny part. The loudest voices that shout Labubus are bad are chasing clout just as hard as people who are buying the boxes to show them off. The anti Labubu outrage is a trend in its own right. It gets clicks, it gets engagement, but it's no more noble than the hype train it's trying to criticize. So if you build your platform dumping on other people's joy, that's not a moral superiority. That's just another flavor of clout chasing. And this is where privilege comes in. If a celebrity fills a wardrobe with designer clothes, it's aspirational. If a regular person fills a shelf with Labubus, it's overconsumption. If a man has a garage full of cars, that's their passion. But if a woman has a room full of plushies, that's infantilized. That's not about the objects, that's about who society allows to have joy. And honestly, that's nonsense. At its core, collecting is about the narrative, it's about control. Life is messy. Collecting is order. It's saying, this is my corner, this is my set, my story. And when you share that with others through community or trades or meetups, that meaning just multiplies. And suddenly it's not just objects, it's belonging. And do you know what else I've noticed? Hobbies are declining. Not just collecting, but hobbies in general. Some of it is cost, I'm sure, but a lot of it appears to be cultural. Instead of building or making or collecting, a lot of us just doom scroll. We fill hours with content that we barely remember. In fact, in the UK, data shows that adults now spend at least 4 hours a day on screens outside of their work environment, and nearly half say they've abandoned hobbies that they previously loved. And on top of that, there's this weird stigma that enjoying things too openly is uncool. Like being visibly happy makes you some kind of nerd, and being a nerd is embarrassing. Now, yesterday I was in Pop Mart and I was unexpectedly presented with an opportunity to buy my white whale, the angel in clouds. And I am not kidding when I say I jumped up and down at the till register, and I'm pretty sure that I squealed a little bit. But then I immediately caught myself and I was like, oh, wait, no, be cool, be cool. But why? What is wrong with being visibly happy? Why do we live in a culture that tells us to dampen down joy instead of celebrating it? And that's part of why collecting matters. It's not just the objects, it's that chance to feel real, unfiltered joy and not apologize for it. And here is another hot take: it's not just collecting. For years, I felt embarrassed about liking K pop and K dramas. And I used to give this really long explanation as if I had to justify why I enjoyed media that was created thousands of miles away in a language I don't really understand. But the truth? I just do. I love it. And honestly, I defy anyone to watch an episode of a Korean variety show like Running Man or 2 Days and One Nights without sniggering or belly laughing. It's pure joy. And that's the bigger point here, isn't it? Joy doesn't need an explanation. If it brings joy, if it's safe, if it's yours, shouldn't that be enough? So, why am I making this video? Because every time my algorithm serves me a video of an unboxing, it serves me a commentary video about why that's bad. Look, balance is healthy, yes, but the loudest anti collecting voices, they aren't collectors. They don't understand that joy. And honestly, some of them are just clout chasing in reverse. They're building platforms off negativity instead of toys, which is why I wanted to add my voice from my side of the table to say, yes, let's talk about overconsumption, but let's do it fairly and with understanding. So, Labubus and overconsumption, are they? Here's my take: overconsumption isn't about the object, it's about the context. If you're spending money you don't have, if you're buying compulsively, if it's harming your life, that's overconsumption. It doesn't matter if that's a Labubu or a handbag or cars or tech. But if you're collecting safely within your means for joy or your community, that's not overconsumption, that's living your life, but with color. And let's not ignore the hypocrisy here. We will cheer a celebrity that has a sneaker wall worth thousands, but shame a small shelf of toys. That's not about the stuff. That's about who we think is allowed that joy, that privilege. I saw a video the other day calling Labubus everything that's wrong with society. And look, I get why it lands. The hype, the scarcity, the resale market, it makes a really easy villain out of this weird little toy. But here's the flip side, the toy is not the villain, the system is. Yes, corporations do engineer scarcity. Yes, social media algorithms amplify frenzy. But that cycle is not unique to Labubus. Swap in sneakers, Funko Pops, Pokemon cards, Taylor Swift tickets. The same pattern plays out. So, blaming Labubu for society's flaws is like blaming a coin for inflation. The real driver is hype culture and human behavior. And honestly, if a toy sparks this much discussion, maybe it's less of a monster and more of a mirror. We call someone with 200 pairs of sneakers a style icon. We call someone with 20 Labubus childish. Why? If overconsumption is the problem, then call it out across the board. Otherwise, admit it's not really about the consumption, it's about who gets to consume without being judged. And here's where it gets personal for me. Earlier this year, I nearly died. I had a bleed on my brain and my world just stopped. And I was lying there and trying to recover, and I realized something really simple. Life is far too short to care about what strangers on the internet think about you and think about how you find joy. If your joy is toys, buy toys. If it's handbags, buy the handbag. If it's Lego, build the Lego. Just do it safely within your means and for yourself. Because at the end of the day, no one else gets to live your life. You do. So here's my real opinion. If you're debt free, safe, and happy, your shelf of toys is probably far healthier for you than a wardrobe of luxuries that you bought for show. Life is short. Do you? So, why do people collect? Because it's fun, because it lights up our brains, because it gives us meaning, because it tells stories. So, the next time someone tells you that your collection is silly or wasteful or childish, remember this: all collections are just humans assigning value to where they find joy, whether that's £10 or £10,000, the psychology is identical. So, my advice, do you. Seek joy, but safely within your means, and don't let the internet steal what makes your life feel brighter. Thanks for sticking with me through this chat, and I'd love to hear from you. What do you collect, and why does it matter to you? Drop a comment down below and share your favorite story because it's the stories that are always the best part. Okay, we'll get back to the unboxing soon, but for now, go make a small corner of your life beautiful.